Good afternoon, Packers fans. Aaron Negler here with your Packers Daily Chat, coming to you live on the Cheesehead TV social channels after practice number 12 here at Green Bay Packers training camp. I'm across the street from Lambeau Field for the final time here in 2025's version of training camp. I head back to New York tomorrow. A very light, breezy affair at Radnitsky Field today. No pads, shells only. There were certainly plenty of competitive moments, plenty of opportunities for both the offense and the defense to shine, which both did at times. But really a laid back affair without hitting, without contact. Lots of young guys getting some opportunities with the first team in anticipation, no doubt, of Saturday's preseason game there at Lambeau against the Jets. Couple of injury notes coming out of this practice, guys who did not participate, including Xavier McKinney, who is dealing with a calf injury. And this kind of goes along the lines of what I asked LaFleur yesterday regarding the safety rotation. And he mentioned then that some, guys were dealing with stuff, et cetera. And that's why they were having guys in and out of the lineup. Well, it turns out Xavier McKinney has been dealing with a calf issue, and talking to him or hearing from him in the locker room after practice, he seemed to indicate that he'll probably be shut down for the rest of camp and preseason. Don't expect him to get much action on the practice field for the rest of the summer, but he did say he will be ready to go week one. So again, it's not the greatest situation to have two of your frontline starters in the secondary sideline for the remainder of camp. And of course, Nate Hobbs and now McKinney, but certainly better now than later. And if this ensures that they are ready to go week one, all the better. Elton Jenkins also did not participate today, dealing with that back issue that sidelined him at the start of camp, although I suspect this is more management trying not to overwork a guy who clearly, knows the position, knows the offense, and I would doubt would probably play on Saturday. Although Matt LaFleur did indicate most of the starters will probably get some work Saturday against the Jets. The Jets, who have point blank said, Aaron Glenn, the head coach, indicating that his starters are going to play and probably play a bit more than maybe most people are used to. So the Packers starters will be out there in some form. I still think they'll probably sit down a few vets, but for the most part, sounds like Jordan Love's going to get at least one series, maybe more. And LaFleur gave some pretty interesting reasoning behind it, both data-driven in the sense that the NFL apparently has provided statistics that guys who play in the preseason, even just a little bit, are less likely to get hurt in weeks 1 through 4, which I think kind of makes sense, right? Just anecdotally thinking about the idea of a guy who actually kind of knocks the rust off and gets into the flow of actually playing football and the physicality of it when it's live as opposed to thud in practice. Having that your body kind of in that mode and then suddenly hitting the ground running and playing 60, 65 snaps, say week 1, the next couple weeks, I buy it. Let's say that. But like I said, that's data driven, but also LaFleur indicating that, start of his early part of his tenure here in Green Bay, they didn't play the starters at all. Of course, that was when Aaron was in town, and they, not every year, but often, they had a little bit of a slow start out of the gate. And certainly there was one year in particular where they really got their ass kicked. And that was, of course, the year they went down to Florida to play the Saints. And those were all years where they didn't play at all in the preseason, the starters, that is. So I think, over the course of his tenure here in Green Bay, he has formed some opinions and looked at the data and said, you know what, I want my guys playing at least a little bit. So look for, like I said, most of the starters, maybe probably not all of them, but I would say probably a good chunk of them to play at least a little bit on Saturday when the Jets come to town. As for practice itself, like I said, no pads, no real hitting, but some amazing plays as usual, including, man, I know I sound like a broken record, but he does this every day, so I have to talk about it. Matthew Golden had another incredible catch today at the back of the end zone where Love threw an absolute laser to the back of the end zone, and Golden had to contort himself around a defender, flew through the air, grabbed the ball, made sure his feet came down inbounds just inside the goal line, and then fell to the ground. And the official was right there, called it a touchdown. Just another example of this kid making plays and making pretty spectacular plays at that. Very excited to see him in live action. Although I'm kind of at the point now where I was like, okay, I've seen enough. Can we put him in bubble wrap until September? Thanks. But yeah, another really impressive play. And that came almost immediately after what looked like another touchdown to Tucker Kraft, who also made an incredible catch. He had to contort himself around Quay Walker, who was in coverage, and he leaned so far over trying to stay in the end zone with his feet. He one-armed it and curled it into his body and then fell to the ground. Now, Ryan Downard, the secondary coach, he was indicating, as of course, as a defensive coach would, oh, no, it's out, it's out, it's out. And it felt like maybe he swayed the opinion of the official who was there, who didn't make a call immediately, but then agreed that, oh, yes, that was out of bounds. I think if it goes to replay review, that's probably a touchdown by Tucker Kraft. And it was an incredible catch. Like I said, there were plenty of moments like that where the offense moved the ball, but then that was kind of in red zone work. When they were doing the traditional kind of move the ball between the 20s, Jordan Love could not do a thing downfield. That secondary had them on lock. It was very impressive, including a play where Evan Williams started on the defensive left side of the ball, looking in the slot, looking like he was about to come off the edge on a blitz. Instead, at the snap of the ball, he tore all the way back, but it must have been 25 yards to essentially dead center of the field, being the deep safety in a cover 3. Talk about, messing with the quarterback's mind. It looks like you've got a really significant pressure to your right, and all of a sudden that guy is bailing into the middle of the field. I think they tried to hit Matthew Golden on an in cutter on the right side, and Bo Melton was all over it. Speaking of Bo, he was working with the ones today. I think we will see him get a bunch of work Saturday and probably through most of these preseason games. I will admit, you talk about Nagler's never right. I certainly wasn't right when it came to what their feeling is around Bo Melton and how real the possibility was for him to play significant snaps at corner. He looks the part. Now, I'm not ready to say he's going to be a starter in the league or he's even going to make, a bunch of plays for the Packers this year. But he is so much further along, just as far as like getting the position and knowing how to utilize the sideline as help, or making sure that the guy doesn't get an kind of inside of you leverage wise off the line of scrimmage, knowing where his help is at the safety and linebacker spots when they're in zone. It's been impressive. And he made another couple plays today where I thought, God, he looks like a seasoned vet at corner. I know he did some work with his brother down in Arizona this offseason. I think it paid off because, man, it's not an easy switch, and he is making it look easy. So it's exciting. I hope, like I said, we get a lot of looks at him in preseason. Definitely, of course, he needs the work, but yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised at how well he has taken to that position switch. What's going on, everybody? Looking at everybody chiming in the comments. So good to see you all. Hope you're all doing well. Give a shout out to our good friends over there at Ticket King. Based in Wisconsin since 1992, Ticket King is located across the street from Lambeau Field on Oneida. They're happy to help you find just the right tickets for Packers games, from larger groups to single tickets, both home and away. They partner with local Green Bay businesses for tailgating and bus transportation to the games, so you don't have to worry about driving or parking. They're even open on game day for last-minute tickets or possible upgrades. And if you're not in Green Bay, no problem. Just use the Ticket King link in the Cheesehead TV homepage, or indeed in the description of this video. Don't use Ticketmaster, StubHub, SeatGeek, none of these national companies. Use a company based in Wisconsin since the early 90s. Ticket King, for all your Packers ticket needs, including this Saturday. You can get tickets to the game. It's in 2 days, and you can get it on our website through Ticket King. Get there, people. Go cheer on the Packers. It's going to be a lot of fun. What's going on, everybody? How are we all doing? Ryan Willie checking in. What's up? We got an Eeyore in the house. How you doing, man? Aaron, have you ever been to a state fair? If so, what's your favorite fair food? I have been to multiple state fairs, including, obviously, the first one I ever went to was Wisconsin, but I have been to the Mississippi State Fair. I have been to the Louisiana State Fair. I've been to a North Carolina State Fair. So, yeah, plenty of state fairs in my history. As far as a favorite fair food, man, it's tough to pick. There was down in New Orleans, there was a what was it? I can't remember. It was like a shredded pork that they served with like honey glaze that was being phenomenal. But if you're talking about like traditional, Man, I always get a brat when I go to the Wisconsin State Fair. That's probably my default setting. Andrew, how are you, man? Thanks for the super chat. Hi, Aaron. What are one or two of your favorite things when you come to Green Bay for training camp? Meeting up with people, seeing you guys the other night. Tuesday night was a lot of fun. Thanks to everybody who came out. It was a really good time over there at Backyard Brew. And I highly recommend if you come to Green Bay or the Ashwaubenon area, head out to Backyard Brew. I was not familiar with their game. That's a phenomenal place. Great beers, lots of stuff on offer as far as like bar games and things like that, and a bunch of great TVs. They have the Brewers game on. And then they've got outdoor seating. They've got a disc golf thing you can do. Like, it's a great spot, man. Highly recommended. So I'll add that to my whenever I do my new top 5 things to do in Green Bay for training camp. So yeah, meeting up with Packers fans, Cheesehead TV fans, met a lot of people this week. And that's probably the other part of it is, just people kind of running into me either after practice or even during practice. I have a lot of folks on the sideline who are there through some promotion or other. Inevitably throughout the day, I get, a few people saying hello, really like the show, etc. Um, it's great, man. I absolutely love it. And it's weird because you talk about when you come to Green Bay for training camp, I'm here for camp, but I spend a lot more time down in Appleton. My dad's still down there. I like to be able to spend some time with him. My sister was in town for a while with her kid. So it's great that I get to do this and do the camp part, but I also love coming home, seeing family, seeing old friends, which is another thing I did a lot of last week. So it's just a great time of year, man. I absolutely love it. And I love that Cheesehead TV is such a kind of connective tissue for so much of my life and so much of your life as Packers fans. I really appreciate it. Hi, Powered. What's going on, man? Tucker Craft. That's it. That's the super chat. Hey, man, you got your money's worth right there. I mean, what more is there to say? What can one say but Tucker Craft? He had good practice today. I think he's ready to wreck shop in the NFL this year, no doubt. Ed, what's going on, man? You mentioned officials. Are there NFL officials at camps? Not during the stretch of practices for camp. They are some kind of local officials. I know they used to do high school officials. I don't know if that's still the case. However, all that said, they do have an NFL official come in sometime. It's usually around now, probably be next week. Who comes in, who is an NFL official representative, who is an official you'll see on Sundays, etc., to go over any rule changes, emphasis, things like that with the team. And then they also meet with the media. So we get to kind of gather around in the media auditorium, and they usually have a presentation that they highlight some of the changes to rules over the offseason, etc. And then you can ask questions and things like that. But that's only, like I said, one NFL official who comes at some point during camp. It hasn't happened yet this year. But during the practices, it's local officials. Sometimes it might be high school guys. Sometimes it's college guys, but they're local to this area of the state as opposed to NFL officials. Joe, what's going on, man? Thanks so much for the super chat. For the players on the roster bubble, what's most important from here on out? What they do in practice or in the preseason games? Safe travels. Thanks, brother. Yes is the answer. But really, the most important aspects now are going to be how they perform on special teams in any aspect, whether it is practice, whether it is a game or a joint practice. But that brings me to that second point is probably more weight and more attention will be given to those joint practices. If you can make a play or two, turn some heads, really kind of dial it up during either of the joint practices, whether it's next week against the Colts or in 2 weeks against the Seahawks, you got a pretty good chance of making a statement and or an impression because those sessions are so much more quote unquote realistic or closer to actual football. Preseason obviously is live, but it's very vanilla. There's not a whole lot of scripting that goes on. In joint practices, they really get after it. And that is why the Packers have gone from doing it twice with a team to only once, because that second day is almost always, tempers start to flare and there are lots of fights. So that's why now that we only do one a week before the preseason game. But you get a lot more information out of those joint practices because the teams work together, the coaching staffs work together and go through a rundown of really what they're trying to accomplish, what they really want to look at. But within that kind of framework, you can, dial it up as far as pressure goes or disguise and then almost kind of go work through your script/game plan and really utilize your playbook. A good example of that is, when they were out there in Lambeau Saturday night for family night. If you noticed, there was almost no motion at all. It was straight drop back stuff, very simple route concepts. It was, and that's by design. Matt doesn't want all that stuff on tape, right? Same thing in a preseason game. All that is televised, right? So they they tend to keep it really vanilla, really simple. Whereas at joint practice, you're utilizing your entire playbook. You're doing everything that you would do in a game. You're using that as a real kind of teaching tool for your young guys. And if they can take that on board and show that they've not only processed it, but know how to react in game like live situations where everything's on the line, playbook wise, that's invaluable. So it all matters. It's all important. Special teams is always going to be the number one way onto the roster for any young player. But two, it's how they perform in these joint practice situations. That stuff is gold because that's the other part. It's on film for the coaches. They're going to go back and dissect that in a way that we can't looking at any practice, right? Those are probably the two most important aspects for any young player this camp, no doubt. Sibatovic, how you doing, man? Going to Packers Colts preseason here in Indy. Is Golden as good as he seems? Mercy. Also, can you leave Green Bay so the Brewers can lose 27 Yankees, maybe? Oh, man. I don't know what to tell you, brother. I did say to a buddy of mine just yesterday, you know what's so phenomenal about the way the Brewers are playing and how they're surging? The fact that they're doing it at the exact moment that the Yankees, Mets, and Cubs are all falling apart. It's gorgeous, beautiful. Absolutely love it. As far as Golden, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, yes, it's just the kid makes a crazy play every day, and it's not just the crazy plays. He does everything well at a high level. That doesn't mean he doesn't make mistakes because he certainly does. And he's got stuff to work on. He's got plenty of ways to go. But man, you talk about legit coming off the bus. I get why they took him in the first round. He is legit, man. I'm trying not to get too excited, but it's proving difficult. It's proving very, very difficult. Rick Harris, how you doing, man? Who do you think the odd man out at wide receiver will be? It sucks, but I think it'll be Malik Keith. I have a real hard time seeing a path to the roster for Malik. We already changed Bo Melton's position, right? All those guys down there at the kind of bottom of the depth chart, whether it's Shepard or Hicks or any of the guys that you've seen, the undrafted kids, Cornelius Johnson, he's made a number of really nice plays. I just don't think there's space for any of them. And that includes Malik, unfortunately. I think the hope would probably be to get him back on the practice squad. But, I mean, we'll see. Maybe his blocking saves him and, they go heavy at the position. But I don't know, man. It feels like he's probably going to be the odd man out. That if nothing else happens at wide receiver, right? A lot of ball game left. Jeff Smith, how you doing, buddy? Can't help myself. Conspiracy theory. Rashid's groin is a sit-in. Let Morgan have the job. Limit risk for injury. Sign for $20 million a year next year. That is some true tinfoil hat work there, my friend. I mean, maybe. The NFLPA legit told these guys last year, yep, you should use that as leverage. So who knows? I don't think that's the case, but man, you want to take a deep dive into Lake Jeff Smith conspiracy? Be my guest. I just think he's hurt, and he wants to get out there as soon as he can. Michael, how you doing, man? Thanks for the super chat. Where does Max McGee rank among all-time Green Bay receivers? As an announcer, he was just the best. Well, it's funny because Max is so revered mostly because of the Super Bowl where he played with a raging hangover and he made incredible play after incredible play. But yeah, no, he wasn't considered like a star. He wasn't considered like a major talent at the position. But he's certainly one of my favorites. I mean, that Super Bowl story is just so legendary. The fact that he and Horning were out all night and Max thought he wasn't going to play. And Starr saw him coming into the hotel at like 6:30 a.m. And then, a couple hours later, he's out there hauling in a touchdown pass that's thrown a little bit behind him to score the first ever touchdown in a Super Bowl. Again, with a raging hangover. You got nothing but respect. That's wide receiver 1 in my book. Andrew Ware, how are you, brother? Matt, are your starters going to play? Yeah, or shit has to effing stunk when they don't. I kind of. Thanks for the coverage from Green Bay. I'm not quite sure what you're saying there. Oh, I think what you're referencing is what he was when he referenced getting their ass kicked when they didn't play. I mean, he's not wrong. It hasn't been pretty when they haven't played in the preseason, so I get trying to go the other way. Ed, what's going on? So, what are NFL officials doing this time of year? Fodder for an SNL skit. Lots of them have other jobs. Lots of them, there's lawyers, bankers, things like that. They're doing their other gig until football season starts, which, kind of has because we had the Hall of Fame game last week. I think there's a preseason game tonight. So, the NFL officials are starting to work now. But yeah, in the offseason, they're doing their other gigs. Sean Gallagher, thanks for the super chat, man. I've loved this training camp. It seems like the intensity has turned up a notch. Looking forward to watching that translate against the Colts. Sean, I am fascinated to see what the tenor of that practice is, right? It does feel, I agree with you, that the defense in particular has come to play and come to dispel any notion that, they're not going to take that step and they're going to be the weak link in the Packers chain, so to speak. I very much am interested. I wish Nate Hobbs was out there because I love the way he plays. But I'm with you, man, on that one. Ryan Willie, how you doing? Will you be doing watch parties during the regular season? Does the Pope wear a funny hat? Yes, absolutely. We'll be doing watch parties. We won't be doing watch parties for preseason. I will be doing post-game chats throughout the preseason. But yes, starting week 1, Corey and I will be right here on the YouTube channel watching along with all you guys, Packers fans worldwide. Cannot wait. Very, very excited. Simatovic, how you doing, man? Thoughts on NFL owning a portion of ESPN? Well, I think it's the other way around there, buddy. ESPN has kind of absorbed and or taken over NFL Digital, essentially, NFL Network, Red Zone, things of that nature. It's been coming for so long. I mean, this has been talked about for 2 years. So at this point, like, it felt like a foregone conclusion. I think you're going to see a lot of, expansion when it comes to properties that they own. Red Zone being the most, specific. But ultimately, man, I kind of engage with most of that stuff so infrequently. To me, it's not going to be a big change. It might be to people who, I don't know, like read and watch NFL Network a lot. I just don't. So I don't think it's like material to me. So I haven't really cared or like very much paid attention to it. But I do think, you've seen already the movement with like Rich Eisen's show going to ESPN. That was a preemptive strike. Peter Schrager moved over to ESPN before this happened. I mean, this is, like I said, this has been it's been down the pipe for 2 years. So what's fascinating to me, forget all the sports and the NFL media stuff like that, to me, like, I don't think I'll see much difference at all. But what I'm fascinated in, and this is nerd stuff, is what Disney does with ESPN, because for the longest time, ESPN or Disney was trying to find a way to offload ESPN. And now with this move and ESPN trying to revitalize itself, trying to like reposition itself with McAfee, etc., I'm fascinated to see what Disney does. If they double down on ESPN, if they still continue to try and find a way to offload it. But like I said, that's hyper nerd stuff. That's neither here nor there. All right, buddy, I'm going to have to get going. Cannot thank you enough for hanging out, talking Packers each and every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Cheesehead TV social channels. Please do me a monster favor and hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then tell your friends and tell your family, Cheesehead TV. We are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. As I said at the top, thank you so much. Everybody who reached out, said hello, emailed me, messaged me, stopped me at practice, after practice, came out to the meetup. Meeting everybody when I come to town is the best part of this gig. It really is. You guys make this go. You guys make Cheesehead TV. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I also cannot wait to get home. So I will talk to you guys on Saturday. No Packers Daily tomorrow because I'll be traveling, but really appreciate you. Tell your friends, tell your family. Cheesehead TV. We're devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Go Pack, go.